Welcome to Black Tie Kitchen. My name is Dennis, and in this episode, I'm going to show you how to make the chili of the Caribbean, the Caribbean, whatever it is you want to call it. In other words, we're making picadillo. We're going to need 8 ounces of tomato sauce, 1 medium onion, 1 green or red bell pepper, 4 to 6 cloves of garlic, half a cup of raisins, half a cup of Manzanilla olives, about a pound of lean ground beef, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1.5 teaspoons oregano, olive oil, pepper. So the first thing we need to do is we need to prepare our garlic. You don't have to be very fancy with the garlic, just get it mashed up. Now we're gonna cut our pepper, bottom off. There we go. Basically, that's the pit. We don't need that. The white part is what actually makes it bitter. We don't want that either. If you get into the white part, just go ahead and cut it off. As you see, we basically have long strips here of our green bell peppers. So we're just gonna cut this. Skin side down. We're gonna dice this. Don't ever forget the olive. Let's go. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna set our heat to medium. We're gonna add some olive oil. Oh, you can spill it outside if you want. That's always an added option. And first we're gonna add our onions. We don't wanna saute them to get brown or anything. We just kinda wanna get the flavor out of them. And to these onions, we're gonna add a little bit of salt. 2 pinches will probably be sufficient. This will help pull the water out of the onions. You can already hear it sizzling. We're gonna add our garlic and our bell peppers. You can see the colors are already starting to get nice and pretty. Let that sit for a second. Gotta grab the meat out of the fridge. So you wanna keep an eye on this. Don't walk away too far. Now this is an extremely versatile dish. You can add a bunch of spices, you can add a bunch of different meats. Some people add turmeric, my mom likes to add turmeric, some people add veal, some people add pork. It's a very varied dish. No matter who you talk to, you're gonna have a different recipe. This is the recipe that my family has made for a long time, and it's how I choose to make it. It's very low in ingredients, and it tastes incredibly delicious, and it's extremely versatile afterwards as well in terms of leftovers. So at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and add the cumin. And cumin is a very strong spice, so just a little bit too much and it'll be overpowering, so you have to be careful how much you use. That's why we're only using a teaspoon in this dish. So this here is about where we want our onions to be. They're translucent, but they're not brown yet. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and add our meat. Meat! We're just gonna brown this a little bit. Now this is 90% lean. And the reason is if you use 80-20, it's gonna have too much fat. It's gonna pool up at the top, and reheating it, it's just not the same. So I prefer going lean on this recipe, even though I'm a big proponent of 80-20. So we want the meat to brown a little bit, so I'm gonna raise the heat. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add the tomato sauce. Get a little bit of water in there, rinse it out. Gonna add the oregano. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna lower the heat to medium, cover it, and let it sit for about 15 minutes. So our picadillo has been cooking for about 10 minutes now. Ooh, that is hot. That is going hot, so we're gonna lower the heat a little bit. And as you can see, it's basically almost cooked already. Now, if you have any chunks, go ahead and break them up because it's a lot better when you don't have chunks in your picadillo. So just stir this a stir. What we're gonna do is we're actually gonna add our olives. And I'm actually not a fan of olives, but the olive flavor is actually really good. So I recommend you add it, or at least add the olive water, the olive brine. So the olives, and we're also gonna add our raisins. Just give this a stir. Oh, it smells delicious. So we're gonna set the heat low. We're gonna let this cook partially covered. Maybe, no. For about another 5 minutes, come back and check it. So picadillo, much like your chilies, are a lot better if you let them simmer for longer than the required cooking time. Even though you can finish this dish in 20 to 25 minutes, it's a lot better if you let it sit for anywhere between 40 minutes and an hour. It's even better the next day. So if you have time, it can be done in about a half hour of cook time, but if you have a little bit longer, let it sit. Let it sit with the lid off and let it evaporate some of that moisture so you get a nice thick picadillo. So this has been sitting for about 5 to 7 minutes. Let's take a look. Yeah, this is coming along nicely. We're actually gonna add a little bit of pepper here. And now we're actually gonna leave this uncovered for another 5 to 7 minutes. Let it evaporate some of that moisture and kind of thicken the picadillo. So this here is looking good. We've let it sit here for another 7 to 10 minutes, and we've lost a lot of the moisture, which is exactly what we wanted to do. We wanted to thicken this up. And I'm gonna call this done. So I'm gonna turn the fire off, the stovetop off, because I'm not using fire to cook with. Give this a good little stir, and plate it. Now, this is very hot, but we like to look dangerous here, so let's go ahead and plate this. Now this goes very good with rice and beans, or you can use it for leftovers the next day. There's a bunch of stuff you can make with it. It's incredibly delicious. As you saw, really easy to make. That is on point. The two ingredients that really elevate this dish are the raisins and the olives. Just that melding of the sweet and the salty, just, oh, this makes this dish. This is the flavor of the Caribbean, a very classic Cuban dish. Something that I grew up on and is near and dear to my heart. This works really well for leftovers, for meal prep, all sorts of things. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, check out the ingredients in the description. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and until next time, remember, my name is Dennis with Black Tie Kitchen. Eat well. Anybody ever play Resident Evil 4? Te voy a hacer picadillo.